Shining Light Weekly. So we have a great session today. We just really want to talk about some of the things that are happening right now. You know, with all the things happening around the world, it is the time to really be in prayer and to really be focused. And here in the United States, we really want to just talk about some of the things that are taking place in regards to the hurricanes. And even today, there was an earthquake near Mexico. So it's pretty intense, all the things that are happening.
And before we go through our list, we just want to let you guys know we are praying definitely for all those that are in need, and definitely shoot us messages and let us know how we can pray for you if you're in those circumstances.
Now, when he said list, we're talking about a list of things that we're going to go over in regards to how you can prepare for a disaster, how you can prepare for a tragedy. And next week, we are going to be with this guy called The Motivist, and he's going to talk about his tragedy and how he went through. But a tragedy that's happening right now with our brothers and sisters in Houston. Also, I have family in Puerto Rico. We have family and friends in Florida. And even here in Georgia, you have to always be on guard. And so we want to talk about 5 tips, or actually maybe 6 tips, to be able to survive or go through the hurricane. And so number 1, we want to say pray.
That's the obvious. Definitely pray. Make sure it doesn't have to be this King James Version prayer. Just talk to God and just tell him, hey, this is where I'm at. Especially if you're in the middle of a storm, an actual physical storm. Definitely just talk to God and just say, God, you're my provider. You're here, and I believe that you'll be able to calm the storms.
Yeah, and maybe even after you pray, you don't get that answer that you really need. That does not mean that God's not hearing you. A lot of times we have to realize that we are in a carnal world. We are in a world of flesh and blood, but God says, do not worry about that, because we also are really suffering a spiritual world that we don't even see. So just when you feel like you are at your rock bottom, remember that God is preparing a way. As long as you keep your faith built up, as long as you believe without ceasing that God has your back, he will show up in the midst of any storm. So number 2, make sure you stock up on food, water, candy, because he likes some candy. All the good stuff that you would need. I know I was looking at some pictures of grocery stores, and they were pretty, a lot of parts were empty. I did see that in Texas, the vegan and gluten-free aisle was not that empty, because in Texas, they don't really, maybe want all the vegan food, but I would eat the vegan food, I don't care.
In addition to that, also with that same topic, gas. I passed through a couple of those gas stations, and there were literally 7 to 10 cars behind each pump.
Yeah, I was almost on E, and I said, screw it, I'll just have to ride a bike to everywhere if I don't have gas. But I ended up finding some gas today, thank God, at a good price.
Another way you can also stock up, besides going to the grocery store for food, is you can actually go onto Amazon, go onto these different places that actually sell survival food, long-term food. I myself did that for our family, and it's really a good way you can be prepared, and it lasts usually 20 to 30 years, and so it's a great way to be prepared, and you can buy it for like 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever your family situation is in.
Yeah, I'll do a little spot for my friend Ted Brower. He has a company called Health Masters, and if you go online, healthmasters.com, or if you let us know, healthmasters.com, and you let me know if you want a survival kit, we'll hook it up. We'll get you a discount, we'll get you a deal, a Shining Light deal. And we'll get you a survival kit. Like he said, they last for 30 years. So if Armageddon doesn't happen this year, if it happens next year or after, we'll have you prepared for Armageddon or whatever may happen. So number 3, keep a survival kit in case you lose power. So what are we talking about? Batteries, generators. You got to keep your, I guess you need to keep your phone on probably to check the weather if you can. So generators are good for that. And if you can't, if you don't have the means to buy a generator, or maybe you run out of batteries, make sure you have people that are close by. Build a community in your neighborhood with friends. Even if you don't like your neighbor, today is the day to meet your neighbor.
That's right.
Yeah, I am your neighbor. So you need to get to know your neighbor, because somebody has a generator that can help you out and can be refilled with gasoline.
That's right.
Or find a food truck. Usually if you find a food truck, those food trucks have generators, and just ask them to let you borrow it. Or maybe not. I don't know. Number 4. You said this already, but I had it written down. Gasoline.
Oh, okay. Good.
Gasoline. So number 4, get gas. I mean, gasoline is a natural, is a natural fuel. So it's something that, if you don't have enough of it, go get some. Number 5, stay connected with upcoming weather trends.
That's right.
You know, we don't really know what's happening, when it's happening, unless you keep up with it. And I know some people, especially if you want to disconnect yourself from social media or TV, you really don't know what's going on until it starts storming, and then you're like, oh, my life's about to end. So you probably should stay connected.
Yeah.
You know, weatherchannel.com, get the Weather Channel app. Find ways that you can stay connected. There's so many different cool things out there that keep you connected with the weather. And number 6, it was a very good one, it's a very fun one, is you could escape.
Escape.
You could escape. And I'm not talking about an
Escape room.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. You could escape. What would you do? Where would you go if you had to escape?
I would try to go to the nearest shelter, or I would still try to go to a church that might have open doors that would help facilitate in times of needs and crisis like this.
Yeah, and try to find a church or a shelter that's on elevated ground.
Yes.
Don't try to go to one that's in the valleys, because that would be a disaster. Go to one that's on elevated ground. That way, even though you might be at a shelter or a church, if it does flood, you'll be watching. Because one thing, everyone was hating on Joel Osteen last week because all that stuff. But it was really funny. They showed pictures. They actually have floodgates that filled up, so they stopped the flood from coming into the church. But it's like I was like, everyone, obviously that's a church I would go to because obviously it didn't flood. But we did see other churches out there that were humongous that really flooded, and they had to get people involved to get all the stuff out. I can't imagine.
Another place that I heard of that people went to in Texas, there was a gentleman, a business owner, that owns a furniture store.
Wow.
And it's a high-end furniture store, and he opened it to the public. And basically, the furniture store, from my understanding, how I watched the video, each little room had its own little miniature living room.
Wow.
So each living room was its own kind of quarters for each family.
Wow.
And then they had restaurants come and cater their food. So they were kind of living it up in the middle of a storm. So maybe get that kind of hookup.
Yeah, and so just get ready. I mean, we have 3 different hurricanes that are, we're praying that they just go away.
Yeah.
There's an earthquake in Mexico. Hola, mis amigos. But you need to prepare. I can't stress that enough that, even though sometimes we think we don't have to care, we really do need to care. And we need to be in prayer for all the people that are really affected by this. Donate where you can. Really donate your money where it's going to be used. Find a church that actually does stuff. Because I remember I saw, they had a government organization.
Right.
They show the government's food that they give.
Non-profit.
And they showed like a church's food. And I know from my experience, especially coming from a Spanish family, when we do meals, we get the rice and the beans, not just the beans. And so, you got to make sure you give to an organization that is actually going to really use the money to the last drop. They don't have, overhead. They don't have to worry about all these other extra bills. The money just goes straight to helping people.
What I was so excited about is Shining Light. We are the organization. We helped with Whole Life Ministries.
Yeah.
And TV49.
Yeah.
And we got an opportunity to be part of that.
Oh, yeah.
And the youth group at Shining Light, they helped organize all the stuff.
Oh, yeah. We worked that whole night just packing up boxes, organizing.
And my understanding is with our partnership with TV49, they were able to bring an 18-wheeler truck to Texas.
Yeah, it's on its way right now. They got some drivers, and it's on its way right now.
So let us know what you guys are doing to help out with the hurricane.
Yeah, make sure you're doing something, praying or doing something. All right, so that's it for this week's Shining Light. We're praying for everyone out there. We love you so much, and just tune in next week. We'll have a special guest and have a lot of other fun stuff. So see you then.
God bless you.